Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to play with a bird's eye view stamp set and a fun fold that I saw. I've seen it around, but Robin Armbrecht did it with Really Robin stamps, and I had an in-person class yesterday and we did this fun fold. And I was playing around with it because as I was playing with this bird's eye view set, I had an idea for this fun fold. So this is the Diorama card, and I thought it would be really fun. Now I've already made a sample and I'll show you that at the end here, but this set tickles me and this card just makes me happy. So I am going to be using paper from, I just got it from the I think it's called Inked Botanicals. Yes, Inked Botanicals 6x6 paper, and I just pulled out, I'm using the back side of this for my paper today. And what you're going to need for this diorama card is you're going to need two pieces that are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So essentially you cut one 8 1/2 by 11 piece of paper in half both ways. One sheet will make two of these cards. So what I'm going to do, I have them already pre-cut, so I'm going to go ahead and score my pieces and try to keep this in the camera. I haven't put my room back from my class yesterday yet, so I'm a different angle here. Make sure that's in view. So I'm going to go ahead and score, and I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and I'm going to do this to both pieces. Then I'm going to turn it around so the long side is to here again, and I'm going to do this side at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. I'm going to bring in the other piece and do the same thing, 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then flip it around and do it again at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. Okay, those are scored, and that's all the scoring we need to do. So now we're going to go ahead and fold our pieces. So we're going to fold in and then fold out. So the one that's the score line the farthest from this edge will be folded in, and then the second one will be folded that direction, and we'll just crease right there. And we'll do the same thing here, and we'll do the same thing to our other piece. They're both exactly the same size, scored exactly the same way, so they're going to fit together nicely. I'm just going to pick one and set it aside. That's going to be my top portion, and we're going to work on this. All I'm going to be doing with this piece is backing. So to back this inside piece, because this is, that's going to be the back, we need a piece of whatever paper. I chose this one. That is 3 1/4 by 4 inches, and then we're going to go ahead and glue that down. Get some glue on there. Now I've already stamped and colored my images. I didn't want to have to do that on camera, but I will tell you, I will show you which ones I stamped and colored. We had so much fun at our card class, and we had to kind of do this one quick. So, but once they had this fun fold, there were so many ideas coming, and mine was the bird's eye view, and I just had the opportunity to play with it today. So we've got this, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it around. This is going to be the back, and you're going to use the same size piece. This is where greeting or whatever can be written for the card, and this is also 3 1/4 by 4 inches, and we're going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay, so this side is essentially done. Now the next step that I'm going to do is we're going to start preparing our front. And what I did for this, so it'll be facing this way, so the folds will be in, because what's going to happen is we're going to meet these up, and this is going to make a fun fold. We're going to cut a window here, but I want to do some stamping on this first. So we're going to take the leaf from the bird's eye view, and this color cardstock I'm using is Lost Lagoon. So I'm just going to do tone-on-tone stamping with this leaf print, and I'm going to do the Lost Lagoon ink. And I'm just going to get most of this covered. The part I'm going to cut out, I don't really need to worry about that. So I'm just randomly going to just switch my leaves every which way just to get this stamped on there. I think I might do some this way. Then I'm going to kind of go up the front, up the side, and then I'll go this direction. I'm going to come down with that one, and then I'm just going to go along the edge. There. Okay, that's good for me. Go ahead and clean this off. Now I'm going to use my Stylish Shapes dies, and I'm going to cut a circle. So from the Stylish Shapes, I'm going to use the largest circle. And I'm just going to line this up here where I want it to be. And for me, I'm going to take a little bit of washi. Just put that on there. Close up my ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and go cut this hole. Okay, so I have the hole cut. Set that aside. You could always use this later if you want to. It's pretty with the greenery around there. I'm going to go ahead and get this put away. And then one last thing I'm going to do before we start putting it together and layering is I'm going to go ahead and do this step first. On the other card I did it later and it worked fine, but I just would prefer to do that. So what I want to do is I want to cover each of these pieces here with a piece of this paper. So I know that each one of these is a 1/2 inch, so I want it shorter, so I have the Lost Lagoon around the edges, and that just kind of centered. And then I know that this is 4 1/4 tall, so I'm going to actually cut it to 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do on your trimmer, I don't know if you can see that, but here's the 1/2 inch. I'm going to go back 2 ticks. So it actually is 3/8 of an inch, but also you can just go back from the 1/2 inch, go back 2 ticks, and that'll be wide enough. And I'm going to need 4 of these pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and get those cut. And because I'm cutting it 4 inches tall, this paper is only 6 by 6, so I can't get 2 of those out of it. So I will need 4 pieces. And I like to cut when I'm cutting small pieces from the top. You can't even see that. So I like to cut, I'm using this side of my cutter to measure. So I like to go from the top when I'm cutting small pieces. It helps my paper to not move. So I will move it up after I cut and then get this in place, set the bar down, and cut down from the top. Okay, so those 4 pieces have been cut, and then I'm just going to cut it at about 4 inches. Oops. Okay, there's that one. Same thing when you're dealing with little pieces, it's easier to cut from the top. Okay, so we have those pieces. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and get those attached to our front here. And I just really chose the yellow because I feel like it's a happy card, the design is, and this yellow just brightens it up even more and makes it more happy. Okay, so we got those two attached. Now we just need to do this side. Okay, so we've got our sides decorated. So now we're going to start sort of putting this together. I'm going to add, I'm not putting anything on the background except for, and I'm going to fold this back in since I had it flat. I'm not going to put anything on the background itself. I'm actually going to layer, so as diorama format, but I like that background the way it is. That's why I decided not to do that. Now I am going to be attaching from this side here something that's going to go in here. So I'm not going to do anything with this side. And I found it easier for me when I was first playing with this is to attach one side, and that allows me to flip as I'm trying to add pieces in this diorama shadow box thing. And so I can see in whatever shape. It doesn't have to be a circle. You can do a square. Here's a sample of one I did with the square. But it allowed me, I had a hard time with this one because I had to, it wasn't together. I kept trying to hold it, make sure it was centered. So I find it easier just to put this side together. And then I can flip it back and forth to make sure I have it where I want it. So you're going to put glue or tear and tape or seal, whichever glue adhesive you're using, only on this first tab here. You're not going to put any glue on this other 1/2 inch tab, only the outside one. So I'm going to go ahead and get that down. I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to cut it. I know it tears, but I always end up tearing some of the card. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to burnish that down. I'm going to take this one off, and then I'm going to add another piece. I know you can do that with it over, but it just, I don't have to mess with it that way. I can just, you know, with it catching on each other. Now I'm going to put a piece on the outside edge. I just want to make sure that this is really closed. You could probably put one piece in there and then add some wet glue, and that'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this around so it's in the orientation that I need. I'm going to go ahead and attach it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that this edge, that edge, and this bottom edge all line up so that it goes on straight. There we go, and this should be straight. Pretty good. Okay, so there's our card so far, and we have one side put together. I'm going to go ahead and do these folds now. And I'm going to go ahead and fold this in and get this ready for, so when it's together, it's going to look like that. Okay. Now, what I stamped was this tree limb, and I stamped the leaves. So here's this piece right here, and I did it on a thicker cardstock the thicker basic white, just because I know that's going to be going in and it's not going to be attached on the back or anything. It's only going to be attached on this side. So I wanted something thicker to hold up. So I stamped all the pieces on the basic white thick cardstock. And then I stamped this little guy here, and he is wearing the round glasses. I stamped this little tiny bird here and colored them in. And I don't have all of the colors of the blends, so I just picked colors that I thought would go well with this and that were cute. And then I did the books, and I stamped that bird right on it. And then I fussy cut all these pieces out. The first thing I need to do though, one thing I did is when I made my other card, this leaf was just out too far for me to get all that I wanted in this circle. So I'm going to fussy cut this leaf out, but we're going to use it. So if you're making along with me, don't get rid of the leaf. We're going to use it. I am going to trim around it a little bit more so it's ready for when I'm ready to use it. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside and work with these two pieces right now. So to make this so I can see how it's going to look, I can kind of play, since I have one side attached, and see about where I want this to go and how it's going to look in the card. And do I want it further back, you know, that kind of thing. And I think I like it right about there, but there's some extra, so I'm going to need to cut this down a little bit. So I'm just going to take a piece off, probably about there. Shorten that limb a little bit because I want it hidden within this. Kind of see where I want to place this again. Make sure it's where I want it. And this bird's going to sit on top, so I want to make sure, and I think that's perfect right there. So I'm just going to kind of hold that there, kind of pinch it, open this up, and of course I'm going to lay it straight. And I'm going to use, I don't know, I have colored pencil close by, so I'll use that to kind of mark my spot where I want to put it. And I'll put some, this time I'm going to try the tape. I'm going to put some tape on it. I glued the first one. Let's try the tape. And I'm just going to put a little bit over that line there, because I just need enough to hold that limb. Glue works fine too. I'm just trying this one on this card to see how it goes, if it's easier for me to place it. And I think it's going to be. So I can see my little line right there. That's about where I want to place it. And I want the limb, and I'm going to make sure he's kind of straight. And I want that limb inside here so it's hidden. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue my bird on. I want him right about there. So I need a little on his feet, tiny bit on the tail, and maybe a little bit right there. Let me go ahead and get that on. And I'm going to flip this around a little bit because I usually end up putting too much glue. And just grab a napkin or whatever you have and just wipe that off. Wipe the excess off. So now we have our little bird on a limb here, and it's in the middle of the card, and I really like that a lot. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and close this up. And I'm just going to run tape just like I did on the other side. Oops, I'm going to take that off first and then do the other one. Run down this side. And this will also help hold that tree limb on much better. It's very humid in my house right now, and so this paper's a little softer than normal. Okay, so I found it easier just to lay this thing flat, line everything up before we turn that one down, and then you can just close it and everything lines up. Easy, easy. And with this tree limb, because of the way it is, sometimes you can just pop it out to get that fold back. But it is designed to lay flat, so for mailing, and then when they get it, they'll just pop it up like that. Okay, so now we're going to finish decorating. That leaf, we're going to grab this little leaf, put a little bit of glue on it, on the front right here. And we're going to just kind of tuck it. Sorry about that. I guess my camera stopped, but it's at the height today that I could see that. So we're just going to, it caught it right when I was tucking this leaf right here on that card. So that's where we're going to tuck this. Then we're going to take this little bird here, this little guy, and we're going to tuck him in behind the leaf, sort of. Let's put a little bit of glue right there. And we're just going to kind of tuck him back here so he's kind of at an angle. This card tickles me. And then this one, I'm go ahead and lay this card flat, and that's how it will mail. It will fit in our standard envelopes. And I'm going to put him right there. So all I'm going to do is put some glue on the back of the books. And I was thinking, but I didn't find, I didn't look hard enough, but I bet with our stamps we could find some little words that we could just color with our black marker and just put little titles on those books. All right, now all we need is a greeting. This card cracks me up. Okay, so I'm going to use from Special Moments. I'm going to use Just a Little High from Me, and I'm going to stamp that in the Memento ink, black Memento ink, which is right here. Okay, and I'm actually going to fussy cut this sentiment out instead of having it nice and neat. And this stamp set's kind of like little sketches to me, so I don't think this needs to be fancy circle or anything like that. I think doing some fussy cutting and giving it some fun curves around this greeting is fun and kind of goes with the kind of sketchiness of this stamp set. Okay, and then I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals, mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to flip this over. Make sure that's still filming. That's weird. That has not done that to me before. Okay. Get that off. And I'm just going to stick that right here. Just a little high from me. So cute. I love that little bird right there peeking. And the little birds with the glasses. There is the finished diorama card. And I love the layers in it. Now you could do more in the back if you want, but I think this paper just is fun. And just having that in the background is fun. And then putting this tree limb and then adding him there. I just love the layers. And I love that they're wearing glasses and a monocle. And that little bird poking out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you go and play with, if you have that bird's eye set, play with that. See what you can come up with. And play with this diorama card and see how many layers you can get in there. And how much fun you can have with this card. Thank you for watching. And I'll catch you on the next one.